So, guess what, guys? Nintendo is bringing out a classic Pokemon game to the Nintendo Switch, part of the Game Boy collection. Because as you know, they have all the classic games and they keep adding shit to it, and it's kind of cool. So, Gaming Bible in classic Gaming Bible fashion, as I've always called them out on the show multiple times, they were talking about this and they released their little thumbnail. It said Nintendo is bringing a classic Game Boy game to the Nintendo Switch, and it's a photo of Red from like Pokemon Red, and then it's got the Charizard that's on the box art for Pokemon Red. So everybody's shitting their pants and being like, "Oh my god, they're re-releasing the classic Game Boy games like Pokemon Red, Blue, Green, and Yellow." And of course, I knew that couldn't be true because, well, hey, let's be honest, guys, Nintendo. Nintendo doesn't give anything like that away. They wouldn't give their Pokemon games away for free, even though, those games have been out for, you know, over a couple decades, almost 3 decades at this point. And, you know, people will just emulate them or whatever. But no, of course, if you actually click on the link and you read the story, they're actually bringing the Pokemon trading card game, the Game Boy version of the trading card game, to Nintendo Switch. So, sorry guys, false alarm. I hate to say I told you so, but obviously, Gaming Bible likes to fucking embellish their stupid ass headlines and make people think that something exciting is happening when it's really just trash. Now, from what I've heard, the trading card game is actually fun for the Game Boy, but I really couldn't tell you. But either way, for those of you that fell for that and thought the classic Game Boy games were coming out, think again. Welcome everybody back to Novice Just Board, episode number 83. We are back. And yeah, like I was saying in the intro there, Nintendo, we've talked about a lot. They don't re-release anything good. They never want to give you what you want. And that's just how they roll. And it really is frustrating to me. And it sucks because Nintendo was so good back in the day. But isn't that the way it goes with all of them, right? All those companies that just used to be good as gold, they never stay good. Like Nintendo, like Rareware, which is it's not a game company, it's a publisher, developer, but still, like Blizzard, Activision, all these big names, they used to be just the kings of the industry, and now they're kind of just synonymous with shit boxes and releasing incomplete, bastardized games. But I don't know. I think we all knew that about Nintendo not releasing those because, like everything, they're gonna drip feed. They're gonna, they'll add the Game Boy Advance or the Game Boy Color on there onto the Switch, and they'll just drip feed. They'll give you like 2 games that are just Mario games. Like every once in a while, they might add another one, and it's just a disaster. And the really messed up thing, and I've talked about this before, about how they have an eShop. They have the Nintendo eShop, but they don't utilize it. There's one game that I've wanted to play. I've had an itch to play this game for a while, and it's Metroid Fusion. To me, it's one of the best Metroid games, and it's the reason why Metroid Dread was so good, because Metroid Dread was literally a sequel to Metroid Fusion. And just Metroid Fusion was my all-time favorite. Super Metroid, fuck it. Original Metroid, kind of cryptic, kind of weird. Fuck it. Metroid 2 Return of Samus, it's good for a Game Boy game, but fuck it. Metroid Fusion on the Game Boy Advance was so good. And I just want to play it on the Switch. That's all I want. I just want to be able to play the fucking game. And they re-released it on the Wii U. When they had the Wii U, they had their Nintendo eShop on there, and Metroid Fusion was on there. But when they released the Switch, fuck even the 3DS, Metroid Fusion was not on the eShop. And I'm like, why are you doing this, Nintendo? What's wrong with you? Like Xbox, PlayStation, they've always had their eShops, and it's always remained consistent. It's just the shop just carries over to the next system. But Nintendo does this fucking brain dead thing of leaving their eShops like exclusives to certain consoles, when it's like it should just be a catalog that carries over. And for God's sakes, just put your catalog on there. Every Nintendo game, every Super Nintendo game, 64, all the way up to whatever the most current system is at the time. Just bring them all digital. People will buy them. All right? Like, people always give shit to pirates, and I don't feel so bad about people pirating anymore. I used to be kind of anti-piracy, and I mean, to a degree I still am. Like, if I can get something legitimately, I will, for sure. But like, I don't feel bad for companies like Nintendo that are just brain dead, and they don't bring out their old games. And when they do, it's some silly shit that they do, and it's like an $80 Switch release that's one game. And it's like, no, that's not how this works. Put a $5 ROM on your eShop that I own forever, as long as the eShop exists, and I will be happy. Like, I would even pay $20 to play Metroid Fusion, because I love that game so much. But there's just no, I don't want to play it on, I still have my GBA, I still have my Game Boy Advance. I don't want to play it on a Game Boy Advance. That screen it was sweet back in the day. It was fucking top titty because it had the black backlight, because it was the SP version. Really cool. But you played one of those things recently? Kind of sucks. Hate to say that, because I do love that console and it's really sleek looking, but yeah, the Game Boy Advance looks like shit by today's standards. So just give me an emulated version on my Switch. I would be a happy boy. But no, they don't want to do that. They don't want to make money, apparently. And I've talked about this multiple times. Nintendo is just so brain dead when it comes to their market that I don't even know how they're a company anymore. I don't know how they're still functioning. And like, the messed up thing, especially in like Metroid Fusion's case, is that it did have a re-release on the Wii U. And like, you'll get brain dead people on Reddit being like, well, why don't you just get a Wii U and just, download it on the eShop? Which, that didn't really age well, because I don't know for sure. I'll Google it, actually, because I think the Wii U shop is done. Is the Wii U shop still up? Oh, eShop still up. There it is. Let's see. Yeah, okay, I thought I did hear that. Yeah, it was on March 27th of this year, 2023. Yeah, they disabled the Wii U and the 3DS, the eShop on those. So, which is stupid, because I think also if you downloaded the games that you bought, you could still use them. But if you didn't download your games, they're just lost forever. So that's just money that's gone, which was always people's argument against virtual consoles. That was always people's argument against, buying Steam games, buying anything that's an online license, because if the servers go down, I mean, tough titty for you, right? But when it comes to, something like Steam, I don't think, there's enough staying power that they're not really going anywhere. At least not right now. But, inevitably this will happen, especially like, because I don't expect Nintendo to be able to, put life support into these online services forever. I don't. That's just not feasible. You can't, like, the Wii U's quite old. The 3DS is really old. They couldn't just keep that shit on. You can't keep the online, just like old games, right? You can't keep old servers up forever. You just can't. So it is inevitable. But this goes back to my old idea. Don't make a new eShop every time, Nintendo. Just have an eShop. And then when you release a new console, guess what? It moves to the new fucking console. And you just keep moving. Keep going about your life. That's what you do. But, God, it just frustrates me. But I remember back in the day before this was closed down, yeah, there's just brain dead people being like, well, you can play Metroid Fusion, actually. You just got to buy a Wii U and then download it off the eShop. It's like, yeah, I'm not buying a fucking Wii U for one game. Are you joking? Like, I just, you get into that level of fanboy where people just, they'll support them no matter what. And I always took punches for Nintendo. I always did because I love them. And deep down to this day, I still love them. Like, that's the weird thing about them is that they make really good games and they release them. I've sung their praises on here before, but the thing about Nintendo is when they release a game, first of all, before they release a game, it's coming out. If they release a trailer for a game, that game's coming out soon, within 6 months. I've said that before. And like they don't do this whole Elder Scrolls 6 bullshit where they tease it 5 years out and then they tell you it's like 2026 or something is the release date, 2025. Like, give me a fucking break, Bethesda, you fucking idiots. But sorry, going on a hate rage here. But like Nintendo, when they say something's coming out, it's coming out and they will make it happen. And the second thing is when games come out, they're actually done. They're completed. Like they actually work. When I played Tears of the Kingdom, I don't think I experienced any bugs at all. Like minor little bugs where, I kind of glitched out a little bit. Like I fell through something or fell beside something, but like I didn't get, there's no game breaking bugs. I had to delete my save file and start over. There's nothing like that. I just bugged into the ground for a second and got tossed out. Like there's nothing. I didn't have anything game breaking, nothing crazy, which is insane because when you look at the physics system in that game and the way everything works with the building and stuff, it's like there had to be so many they probably had to do so much troubleshooting and so much bug fixing, but they must have had like a dozen people working day and night just trying to find ways to screw with that game because it's absolutely insane. And of course, speedrunners and people found duplication glitches. That's fine. That's going to happen. And, they're going to patch that out. But, I don't consider those are just regular old glitches, which are fine. What I'm talking about with Nintendo games is like there's no glitches that, end your gaming experience, like Fallout 4 when it was released or Skyrim, like any other title. And we'll also get into that in a minute once I'm done my rant here. I have another little topic about games being released in a solid state, but it just blows my mind. I really wish Nintendo would get their heads out of their asses and just release everything. Just make everything available. Because you know what? If you're going to get mad at people for making fan games, for making spiritual successors, and that's happened. And again, that's another thing I've talked about on here before too, is that there's people that will literally love a game so much that they'll make a spiritual successor like Mega Man or, the old school Zeldas or Metroid. They'll make their own fan game. And I'm like, God, you guys, don't do that. Like, don't make fan games. Look, don't get me wrong. I love the effort. I love that you're passionate about it. I'm very passionate about their games too. But what you got to realize is that Nintendo will shut that shit down real quick, no matter what. So if you're going to make a fan game, just make a spiritual successor. Make a War for the Overworld, like Dungeon Keeper. It wasn't Dungeon Keeper, it was War for the Overworld. Same fucking game, but it's considered a spiritual successor. And that's what you can do. Take the Ninja Gaiden formula, take the Zelda formula, take the Metroid, whatever your passion is, and just make your own game out of it. Change the characters to your own people. It could be the same kind of gameplay because you're making a spiritual successor. But just don't use Nintendo assets because you're just wasting your time, and it really does break my heart. As a true gamer at heart, I know the effort it takes to make these games. I know how much blood, sweat, and tears goes into it, especially for those little indie guys. They're sometimes just one guy. And it's like you put hours of your life into something, and then Nintendo just puts the kibosh on it. There's no point in that. Just make something. If you're gonna make something, make it your own. Just like like Shovel Knight. Shovel Knight was its own thing. Great game. It took some influences from earlier Capcom games like DuckTales and some of the other like side scrollers, but it made its own story, its own characters, and it's really popular. The Messenger, very much a spiritual successor to Ninja Gaiden in a lot of ways, like scary ways, but it's not Ninja Gaiden. It's the messenger. They made their own thing out of it. And that's what you really got to do. And that's, I will throw my money at that every time because I love that shit. But just don't waste your time because Nintendo is not going to budge for you, I'm afraid. Um, but yeah, so screw that shit. Pirate games, guys. Pirate them all. Who cares? Fuck you, Nintendo. If you're not going to release your games, sorry, dude. People are going to just pirate them. That's reality. Supply and demand, baby. Oh, sorry, my back's itchy. Oh. Okay, we got it. Made some weird noises. That's fine. I guess I'll do the other topic right now because I was going to talk a little bit about this. Baldur's Gate 3 got released. I think it got released on a 3rd, 5 days ago or something. I don't know anything about Baldur's Gate, really. I know of it. I never really played them. I've heard they're good. But the reason I want to talk about the third one right now is because more brain dead stuff. That's my favorite word, by the way, brain dead. Is that a word or is that 2 words? Hyphenated, it could be 2 words. I don't know. But either way, brain dead, more brain dead shit, guys, coming your way. So Baldur's Gate 3 got released, and people are loving it. It's great. I don't know much about it. I know it's a Dungeons and Dragons type, like a dice roll, classic RPG, you could say. But there's this one game journalist that I was hearing about. I don't know who it was, and I don't really want to. If I did know, I don't really want to say his name anyway, because this guy doesn't need to be more popular. But he was saying that I can't remember what the title was, but it was like Baldur's Gate 3 sets a dangerous precedent for modern gaming. And I was like, what the fuck does that mean? What was he talking about? Dangerous holy crap, I can't talk. Dangerous precedent. And I didn't really understand what he was saying, but I'm like, well, you clickbaited me. Let's go. But basically, the gist of the article, from what I got about it, from what I got out of it, was that he was saying it sets a dangerous precedent because the game's actually functional and finished. There's no like major bugs, like I was saying with Tears of the Kingdom earlier. That's why I was saying I'm going to be getting to this topic, and now we're here. You guys following? No? You clicked off the video clicked off the video, clicked on a different Spotify ad. It's fine. But, that's why I was talking about that, because, games really aren't being released in a finished state. And I've talked about that ad nauseum on here, how fucking annoying it is to me. We're in the day of, alphas and betas, which is fine. I'm okay if people say it's early access, then you expect bugs. It's kind of a cop-out sometimes, but again, it is what it is. If you're releasing in early access, can't really get too mad at them because it says early access right on it. But what I'm talking about is the real games that they're AAA developers, like Fallout 4, that were released in such a piss poor state that you don't even understand what happened. And I've always kind of defended these big game studios for a long time and said, like, well, it's a lot of work. It's a big game. But more and more, I'm just leaning towards the side, like, these guys are just lazy. Like, something's going on, because we've gotten to the point where just games are not finished. And when they get released, they're just in this like, oh, yeah, ship it. Doesn't matter. Got to make the quota. Let's go. And it's really annoying. Take a look back at like the Xbox 360 even. That's not even that long ago. Like Oblivion's era. Now keep in mind, Oblivion had bugs. I'm not saying games didn't have bugs back in the day, because they certainly did. But they were very functional. Like the Xbox 360, like Gears of War, Halo. Those games, when you played them for the first time, you just took that home, you popped it in your system, you played the goddamn game, and it was great. You'd find a glitch here and there. Usually you had to hunt for the glitches, though. That's the thing. You had to find glitches. It was like a pastime. Now it's like in these newer games, just the glitches are just there. They just happen. And I don't know if quality control has just gone down or what the real issue is here, but there's obviously something going on in the gaming industry where I think, part of it I think is how big the games are. The scope of the games are much, much larger than they were back in the day. But I also don't buy that because while they're bigger, like, yes, they are bigger, but it's still the same shit. It's just more of it. And a lot of it's done by what you would call like artificial intelligence, like AI stuff, like textures and stuff are just files. Like when you look at, I don't know, Skyrim, for example, you have the map. There's trees all over the map, everywhere. But do you think an artist drew every tree by hand in that whole map? No. An artist made, like, if we're being, I don't know, uh, if we're being generous, like 30 trees maybe, depending on, probably different types of trees, of course. But, let's say they made 30 trees and all they do is plop those different models to different parts of the map to make it look diverse. Sometimes they fuck with the size of the tree. Sometimes they knock the tree over, stuff like that. That's, it's not like the whole world is just hand painted. It is in a sense, but it's just pre-rendered assets that they've, decided to plop in certain areas. So while and a lot of new stuff that's coming up now is just RNG. It's literally just AI creating random trees, random assets, and then they throw those random assets. Like they'll just have an area. I've seen guys screwing around with game engines like Unreal and stuff, and they'll have this area that they'll dedicate. This is a forest, and the game engine will just randomly generate trees in that area. And then you can go through and tweak, if you want a path here, if you want to delete some trees, make a house, something like that. You just do what you want. But there's a lot of AI tech that's being utilized now. So I don't know. I don't really buy all that scope shit, all that, you know, how big everything's gotten, because it's the same kind of deal. Yes, it's on a bigger scale, but the tools are also better. Like I don't remember playing like Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. I remember finding glitches, but not like, the game wasn't broken when it shipped. It just worked. It was a different time. But according to this game journalist, just by it being this functional, it's setting a dangerous precedent for other games, and I just think that's such. Oh, hit my mic. I think that's such a brain dead take for a guy to say. Like, you're actually mad that a game is released on time and it works. There's no game breaking bugs. Like, is this what we've gotten to as gaming journalists, that like you gotta just nitpick about things actually doing what they're supposed to and working? Like, it just literally makes zero sense to me and kind of upsets me. But I don't know. Again, if you guys can Google that, find the guy that was talking about that. You could probably Google like game journalist mad that Baldur's Gate 3 is so awesome. That's probably what it is. But you know, I kind of want to play Baldur's Gate 3 just for the fact that I hear you can have sex with a bear. And that sounds fucking stupid and ridiculous. And hear me out first. But no, it's a druid apparently. But it's yeah, I guess the druid goes into bear form or something. Again, I haven't played it yet, but just judging by all the positive press it's gotten and how much people are singing its praises, I kind of want to try it out. So and I'm all cool with the classic RPG. I saw there's one clip I saw. It was a reel that somebody sent me, and it was Baldur's Gate gameplay, and it's like a guy um talking to a squirrel, or a squirrel like jumps up on his boot and he kicks it off, and then like he does a dexterity roll, and he needs a dexterity roll of 10, and he rolls high, rolls like a 15. So he does the skill check, and then he just fucking boots the squirrel, and it just fucking explodes into a pile of blood on a rock. I'm like, that's a little excessive, but I love shit like that. That's fun. Just goofy choices like that. The other choice is probably like reason with the squirrel. Ask him why he's jumping on me. But I don't know. Um, yeah. Other than that, there's one other thing I kind of wanted to get into here. Just hold on one second. Sorry, you're gonna hear me walk away from my mic. I gotta grab my phone for this one. I didn't put it on my PC. My lord, my ankle is killing me. I rolled my ankle like a few weeks ago, and I'm really hoping that the ankle's fine. It's not shattered, or it's obviously not broken, because if it was broken, I'd be fucking crying. But I don't know, it might be fractured or maybe like cracked or something. I don't know. It just like, if I move it a certain way, I tweak it a little bit. It kind of gives me a sharp pain, and that's not good. Hopefully I'm not dying, guys. We'll see. Let me find the thing here. Holy shit. I saved a lot of pictures recently. And here we go. Yeah. Yeah, so, and I actually can't, this is stupid, guys. I'm sorry, but I actually can't remember. I can't remember if I talked about this last week or if I forgot about it. I think I was going to talk about it last week, but I ended up forgetting about it because I was in a rush. But I'm going to talk about it now because I'm a goldfish and I have short-term memory loss. So if I did talk about this already, apologies. But I think it's important, so I want to talk about it. So, as you guys know, friends of the show, I live in Canada, and Canada has recently released a new act into government, into law, that's called the Online News Act. And if you guys are in Canada and you have a Facebook account or a Instagram account, I'm sure you've gotten this notice on your timeline that says, um, here it is. Yeah. In response to Canadian legislation, news won't be able to view or share soon. So, and if you read at it, if you click on the notification I gave you, it says Meta, which is Facebook. Meta's review team identifies news outlets based on legislative definitions. News outlets include undertakings whose primary purpose is to provide is to pro, is to produce news content in any format, including an audio or audio-visual format, so video, that reports on, investigates, or explains current issues or events of public interest. You can learn more about Meta's position on Canada's Online News Act here. Went on to say, news outlet pages/accounts located in Canada will no longer see the content from their page/account. If they wish to view or edit their content, they can log into Meta Business Suite. News outlets pages accounts, both inside and outside of Canada, will still be able to post news links and content. However, content will not be viewable in Canada. News outlets pages/accounts will continue to have access to advertising tools. People in Canada. Oh, Oh, sorry, I read those in reverse, but you get it. Yeah, it says people in Canada will no longer view or share news on Facebook or Instagram, including news content posted by news outlets. In addition, people in Canada will no longer see links or content from any news outlet pages or accounts. Yeah, yeah, and this was saying, it was saying the regulations for the Canada's Online News Act. Yeah. So yeah, in response to the Online News Act, content from global news outlets, including news publishers and broadcasters, will not be available to people accessing Facebook and Instagram in Canada. So yeah, and then this is on the Government of Canada website. This part, it says the Online News Act. Digital platforms have come to play an integral role in Canada's news ecosystem, shifting the way Canadians access news content that is vital to democracy. These platforms can play an important role in supporting the production of trusted news and information as well. Yeah, so that's on the government website. So, we're fucked. uh, gotta say, guys, when I saw this on there, really rubbed me the wrong way. And again, you guys can call me a conspiracy theorist. You can call me fucking idiot. I don't care. Leave it in the comments below. Honestly, leave it in the comments below. I want to hear what you guys think about this, because I think it's fucking dangerous. I think this is incredibly irresponsible, and I think this is a liberal government that is trying to censor all of Canada. Because let's be honest, guys, how do you get your news? How do you get your news now? Do you brew your coffee at 7 in the morning, turn on CNN, just, have a good time? No. No. It's not fucking 2008, guys, all right? We don't do that shit anymore. You log into your Facebook account and people will share news. It'll be CTV. It'll be whatever. It'll be a news outlet, usually. But that's how you'll get your news, is through that. But now, with this Online News Act, they are censoring all news outlets on Facebook, which is the main fucking place where people get their news. That is extremely dangerous. So now you can't, any of that stuff, shootings, school shootings, election stuff, anything, anything to do with the news, you are not going to be able to view it on Instagram or Facebook in Canada. They have made that illegal. And I think we as Canadians need to stand up against this shit and get this vetoed. I don't know how the shit passed in the first place. Like, what the fuck were they thinking? Again, if you want to call me a conspiracy theorist, I mean, I would say this is Trudeau's government trying to be tyrannical. And again, I don't like to be the conspiracy guy. I don't like to be, I don't trust the government. I mean, that's true. I don't think anybody really should. But I'm not the guy that's like, oh, Trudeau bad, just because he's bad. No, he's an idiot because he's fucking ruining this country. Our economy's fucked. Everything is fucked. And if you had told me in like 2016 that he had this sort of fascist agenda, I'd be like, you're an idiot. Fuck you. You're just mad at change. But no, here we are, 7, almost 8 years later, and I think 2015 he got in, right? 16 was Trump. No, maybe 16. I don't know. I can't keep track of this shit, but no, this is really not good. And I could see how this is going to really upset a lot of people once they understand what's going on. There's so many people that just log into Facebook and whatever. They don't really pay attention to anything. But when it comes to government making legislation, I like to know what's going on. It's the same reason why Jordan Peterson got famous in the first place with Bill C-16, the implied speech, or what was it called? I don't know. I can't remember. But it was basically where you had to call people by their pronouns, and you could get like fined or fired from work for not doing so. Compelled speech, that's what it is. But it's just dangerous, and it's little by little. And if you take the news away from people, because let's be honest, that's where people get their news. If you think that people don't get their news on Facebook, you're not paying attention, especially for average Joes. But I don't know. I guess we're gonna have to get our news from X now, like Twitter. So I don't know where this is gonna go, guys. I don't know what the future holds, but I would be very wary of Justin Trudeau, and I would be very wary going into this next election cycle. Just mark this on your calendar. Like, I don't trust that shit. And I know it's not just him. Obviously, he's just one man. He can't enact everything. But it is his government that did this. So, unfortunately, it's tied to him. I don't know if it was his idea directly or what. But I really don't like the idea of us not being able to see news on Facebook. And I think their idea behind this is they want to stop the spread of misinformation. But it's so ridiculously ironic, because the misinformation that they're talking about spreading is actually more often than not the truth. and the misinformation is from their side of the aisle, which is hilarious. But I don't know. Fight tooth and nail for this, guys. I would not, talk to your local politician, talk to your local government, get more information on this, get educated, because there is a shitstorm coming. Because it starts with this. It starts with, you can't view news, and then pretty soon it'll be, well, you know what? Maybe you're not allowed to go on YouTube. Maybe you're not allowed to go on TikTok in Canada. Maybe you're not allowed to go on whatever. They'll ban Facebook. This sets a precedent for what they're allowed to do. And I don't want to raise any red flags here, but I seem to remember another country rhymes with Rhina, and they were banning shit like this too. And look at the sorry state they're in. You can only have one kid. Can't be out after midnight. I don't know if that's true. But seriously, I don't know. If we don't get rid of Trudeau, I feel like Canada is going to be another fucking North Korea or China. And again, that sounds crazy. It sounds stupid, but this is how it starts, guys. Rome wasn't built in a day. And totalitarian dictators don't take over in a decade. It takes years and years. Slowly break down your guard. But I don't know. Either way, I'm done with this shit. I'm done rambling. I implore you guys, if you care anything about your future, if you care anything about the future of Canada, I love this fucking country. I really do. It is one of the best places on earth to live, and I want to keep it that way. So please look into this, educate yourselves, keep your eye on the sky. Either way, that'll do it for me for today. Thank you guys so much for listening to my crazy ramblings. I hope I didn't come off as too conspiratorial, but I just like to be ready. I like to be ahead of these things for one reason only. So I can go, aha! Told you, bitch! When it all goes down. But I won't even be able to do that because I'll probably be in handcuffs or something. But either way, thank you guys so much for listening. Love you all. I appreciate the support I've been getting more. I've noticed a few new faces around. The numbers have been going up, which is kind of cool. So I really appreciate the support. It's awesome, guys. And remember, links to all social media are in the description below. And I will see you next week. Bye, guys.